How was your department affected by the attacks on 9/11?
Yes, the Elizabeth Fire Department actually responded to 9/11. We have a special ops team. It's been in effect for many years now. And when September 11th occurred, FDNY reached out to our chief of department and asked that our special operations team respond. We went over to Staten Island. We were placed on a ferry, and then all of our equipment was brought over to New York City. We operated there for approximately the next 4 days. I happened to be the captain on Rescue 1 that day. We participated with all of the equipment that was needed, and the 2 Port Authority police officers that were brought out alive, our group was part of the rescue group that brought those Port Authority police officers out.
I think the entire region, if not the country, was affected by a lot of the things that happened during 9/11. That was a devastating attack on not just the American soil, but it was especially tragic for the firefighters and emergency responders that went there. So anybody in the response field who was a firefighter, paramedic, police officer, any first responders was affected by all the events that happened that day. We've never had such a substantial loss of firefighters, except for that day. That was the greatest loss ever in the history.
Do you believe M.U.S.A.R has better prepared the UASI region to respond to another terrorist attack?
I absolutely believe that the Metro Strike Team has better prepared the fire department for another terrorist attack. The training and the equipment that these specialized units have are second to none. And it's a continuing thing, as you can see with the drill today. It never ends. I think it better prepares us for not only terrorist attacks, but any kind of natural disasters or man-made disasters.
That's a good question. I think the strike force not only better prepares us for the response to the post attack, but it better prepares us for overall responses to any man-made or natural disaster, to bring the fire service together as a trained and well-equipped force to that type of an event.
What is the benefit to your department from being a member of M.U.S.A.R?
And yeah, the benefit from our department, I think, has multiple layers. The first point that needs to be made is Newark is the biggest city and the largest fire department in the state. So we would have to be a part of this type of program. But what it does do, it maximizes our forces here in Newark. If we need assistance, we know we call the strike team, that we're getting well-trained, a coordinated group of people coming into our city that's already familiar with working with our members to assist us in an incident that would involve the strike team.
Yes, being a small part of a larger unit, it gives you the ability to call on resources that your municipality just can't afford in its entirety. As an example, if there's a large-scale incident in Hoboken, with a phone call to the coordinator, we could have a dozen units of heavy rescue teams with very specific skill sets, highly trained, and in my city within a half hour.
What are your feelings about what it means to be a part of this elite unit?
Personally, I was at 9/11. I saw the devastation. I have coming up on 35 years in the fire department, so I've seen major changes. When I came on the job, we really weren't worried about terrorism in this area. This is a new paradigm. We're needing to be prepared for all kinds of things that come up today. So personally, having been involved in it, seeing the carnage that went on to human beings, yeah, I'm happy to be involved in this. I stay involved. I'm one of the charter members because I know it's going to be needed again, and I want it to function at a very high level. So personally, I have a lot of stake in this program, as do a lot of others. I'm not the only one. And you can see the pride when we go out in the field and see these guys work. You can see it in their heart and soul. They're ready to save people, and that's what we're about.
I think for the Newark Fire Department, it's a source of pride. I know that on our U.A.S.I unit, we have the words "Let's Roll" on it as a tribute to the members of that Flight 93 that went down in Pennsylvania. And I know that personally, I was a member of that unit when I was a captain there from 2006 to about 2010. And so I know the amount of work that goes into it to be a member of that UASI unit. It's a source of pride, and it's something that I think every member of the Newark Fire Department appreciates.
I think pride is one of those things. I heard another chief say it before. And being part of this group, these are like the 1%, some of these members. They go over and above. They do everything they can to become better, to learn their trade, to master their trade. These rescues that we ask these gentlemen to do are very complex. If you can assimilate, the police departments has SWAT units and FBI tactical teams. This is what this M.U.S.T team is. They don't do the ordinary, they do the extraordinary. They're well above and beyond. So personally being even involved with the members around the unit, who are mostly very humble individuals. They're not very boastful, but they all have a tremendous resume and a tremendous amount of capabilities to respond to and mitigate some of these hazards. So you meet people from all different departments, and you hear their ideas and hear how they train and what they do. And I get to bring that back, and personally I get to learn from them as well. The other sorts of pride that I have is I'm the chief of my unit, so I really feel well when my team comes out, when they perform well. And I know I've worked and done drills and training and enabled them to do things. So when they do well, I feel really good about it. It's a sense of pride for me as well. So it's twofold.
What are your feelings about your original vision of M.U.S.A.R compared to what it has become today?
Well, it's kind of a good feeling actually to retire and see that something that you had a hand in starting has continued and actually gotten stronger. Sometimes in government, you know, you run a program and you leave, and you know it doesn't get the attention it should, and it kind of goes by the wayside. Well, the U.A.S.I program, because of the leadership it has become stronger. It actually expanded after I left with the addition of Middlesex. We were just in the process of having Middlesex come on board when I retired. So as far as what it is now, it fully fulfilled my vision of what I hoped it would be, but nonetheless, it's very effective. They get a lot of call-outs, and it does what we hoped it would do. The strike team handles calls that the state team would not mobilize for. They're on the scene very quickly. It gives a rescue capability that certainly rivals New York City's right here in New Jersey. So it enables us to get to an emergency quickly and make rescues when people are actually still viable. If you have to wait 4 hours to get somebody out from under rubble, they probably wouldn't have a real good outcome. So this gives the U.A.S.I region and areas outside the region the capability to respond immediately to a major emergency. It also gives those departments a piece of apparatus that's fully equipped that would cost them well over $1 million, and they have use of it every day, which was another part of the vision we had, was that the towns would be able to use this equipment on a day-to-day basis. Originally, there were suggestions that it should only be used in a disaster. Well, if you only use it in a disaster, you're not going to know how to use the equipment. The equipment will just deteriorate from non-use. So the units do use the equipment every day. That helps out their citizens, and the unit does do what it was designed to do. So I'm a happy man.